Well, Melbourne Rectangular Stadium, a venue built for nights like these. Opening night for the 16th AFC Asian Cup and a full house in attendance for Australia versus Kuwait to kick things off. A night when years of planning comes to fruition, when the home supporters get their chance to show the continent just how passionate Australia can be for the game of football. Socceroos have had a tough 2014. Could the new year bring new hope and perhaps a new trophy for the Cabinets? They are certainly one of the favourites for this competition. Their opposition tonight, Kuwait, caused an upset the last time they were here in Asian Cup qualifying back in 2009. Could they do so again? Now, before the teams come out, the ceremonial handing over of the trophy from the holders, Japan, back to the AFC president, Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa. And making the presentation is going to be the president of the Japanese FA, Kunio Daini, a former international himself with the Samurai Blue with 44 caps. Will he be taking possession back of that cup on the 29th of January, I wonder? Well, opening night doesn't always go smoothly for the host nation at this tournament, indeed with the exception of 2007 when we had 4 co-hosts. Vietnam and Indonesia got off to the best possible start. We have to go all the way back to 1984 and Singapore's win over India to find the last home country to get 3 points on the opening day. The Aussies, though, will have 30,000 behind them, willing that to change this evening. Australia expects Kuwait cast in the role of party poopers, which they will embrace, having won in Canberra on their last visit to these shores 6 years ago. Ange Postecoglou has used 42 players in an attempt to try and get the right blend for the Socceroos in the build-up to this tournament. As we say, it has been a tricky 12 months with just one victory in the last calendar year, but all that will be forgotten if they can get this tournament on home soil off to a winning start.
Australia and Kuwait.
So here they come for the opening game of the 16th AFC Asian Cup. Australia and Kuwait.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the pleasure to invite the AFC president and the dignitaries to be introduced to the players and officials of both teams.
So the official AFC welcome party is led by the president of AFC, of course, Sheikh Salman, the Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, being introduced to Messaid Al-Anazi, the captain of Kuwait. Behind him is Frank Lowy, the chairman of Football Federation Australia. And then Sheikh Ahmed of Kuwait. Also in attendance is His Royal Highness Prince Abdullah Ibn Sultan Ahmad Shah from Malaysia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Kuwait. And now the national anthem of Australia.
A warm welcome to you wherever you are watching around the globe to the AFC Asian Cup 2015. The moment of truth for Australia on and off the park, and on the park at least for Kuwait as well. The biggest ever football event to be held on these shores, and Australia expects this team to not only open proceedings but close them in 23 days' time. Will the year of experimentation pay dividends? Will Kuwait's decision to part company with their coach less than a month before the start of this tournament prove to be a masterstroke or a mistake? All is about to be revealed on a night of huge excitement for the game in this country. Now, a very attacking lineup named by Ange Postecoglou for Australia, which includes Robbie Cruz and Matthew Leckie, meaning no place for Tommy Orr. He's also gone with two more attack-minded midfielders in Massimo Luongo and James Troisi. So no Mark Milligan or Mark Bresciano. Further back, Ivan Franic gets the nod over Chris Hurd. Trent Sainsbury is preferred to Alex Wilkinson, and Aziz Bayic has won out over Jason Davidson at left-back. Tim Cahill looking to score at his third Asian Cup, to go with goals at 3 World Cups.
And And short time away from the first game of the campaign, how are the feelings for yourself and the team?
You know, everyone's pretty excited to get it going. I guess it's been a pretty decent build-up for us, and preparation, opening game of a home tournament's always exciting, and we're looking forward to it.
It's an old cliche in football, but how important it is to get a good start tonight?
Oh, absolutely. We said all along we've focused on this first game beyond anything else, and all our preparation has gone into making sure we play well tonight and get 3 points.
And just a few words on Kuwait. What type of game are you expecting from them tonight?
Oh, look, it'll be a tough game for sure. I mean, it's an opportunity for them as well. You know, they're part of the opening game of a big tournament, and I'm sure they'll be a tough nut to crack. But, you know, we'll concentrate on ourselves, make sure we play our football nice and positive, and hopefully that'll be enough.
The two captains, Kuwait being led by Musaid Al-Anati, who replaces the injured Nawaf Al-Khaldi as skipper, and who scored the winner between the two countries in Canberra 6 years ago. Our match referee, 5 times AFC Referee of the Year, Ravshan Ermatov from Uzbekistan. He officiated in the final 4 years ago, won by Japan against Australia. And Miller Jedinak leading Australia for the 11th time, and joining Mark Viduka and Lucas Neal as the only men to lead the Socceroos into battle of both the World and Asian Cups. Now, interesting selections for Kuwait. Danger man Youssef Nasser and Bada Al-Matawa both left on the bench, while left-back Farhad Shaheen is suspended. So Ali Maxid will drop into that position, while Nabil Malul has stopped his midfield, perhaps to play on the break. Aziz Mashan will be key in the creative role. Faisal Zayed will feature as the lone striker. As we say, goalkeeper Nawaf Al-Khaldi has been ruled out through injury, so Hamad Youssef is between the posts, and Farhad Al-Anati didn't travel. He's had issues with his passport. And on the bench, Ange Postecoglou has indicated that Nathan Burns may see some game time for the Roos, and you'd expect Al-Matawa or Youssef Nasser, perhaps both, to feature at some stage, particularly if Kuwait are chasing the game. Well, this tournament is Ange Postecoglou's defining moment. He was cut some slack at the World Cup in Brazil due to the tough group and the limited preparation time. He's unlikely to be treated as generously if Australia fail on home soil here. As for Nabil Malul, he's been in the job just 22 days after taking over from the sacked Jordan Vieira. He has some pedigree, though, having assisted Roger Lemaire in Tunisia's African Cup of Nations win 11 years ago. So all set on a rather damp Melbourne night, but the pitch is in perfect condition. We've waited a long time for this. It's all about to get underway. So 32 games over the next 23 days, watched by an estimated audience of over 500 million worldwide, all aimed at finding the next champions of Asia. And Australia's name, Andy Harper, very much in the frame.
Hello, Simon. The excitement is incredible here in Melbourne. A chance for Asia to showcase itself to the world and for Australia to showcase itself to Asia. The most vibrant, energetic, populated, diverse and dynamic region on the planet. And the vehicle for this celebration is football, the world's most popular game. In Melbourne, one of the world's great sporting cities.
The Melbourne public has responded by selling out this opening match as Australia concede the first foul of the 2015 Asian Cup through perhaps the surprise selection, Massimo Luongo, or not?
Well, not if you're to believe what you hear out of training. He's been buzzing. Good form in England with Swindon Town. He's made baby steps as a Socceroo, but impressive steps. And now he gets the ultimate vote of confidence by the coach. He's earned it. He's earned due praise from Mark Bresciano, one of the senior statesmen of the Socceroos, and it's a direct swap, you'd imagine.
What to make of the two lineups in general halves? You sense that Australia set up to attack, perhaps Kuwait to contain?
Yeah, I think so. And the fact, as it's lining up at the moment with Abdul Aziz, the number 10, playing up front as the point man rather than the transition midfielder on counter-attack, probably emphasises the fact that they're stacking the defence with as much height, as physicality, and and as much athletic enterprise as they can across the middle.
It's going to be too high for Aziz Bayic. Played a lot of his earlier career in the city, of course, with Melbourne Heart, now renamed Melbourne City. Getting the nod over Jason Davidson at left fullback, but he is an attack-minded left-sided defender. And look to push forward, as will Franich on the other flank.
You can see Kuwait just conceding the possession till halfway, but the back four, as it's been manned, is holding a line just 15 yards or so off the halfway line. They're trying to compress the field around the middle of the pitch are Kuwait. Looking to redeem themselves, I guess, Simon. It's a country with such rich football heritage, particularly in Asia and particularly in the Gulf Cup. The recent circumstances are not reflecting well on that heritage, and they'll be looking to turn that around.
Asian champions, of course, all the way back in 1980, and runners-up 4 years prior to that. They really were the golden years of football in Kuwait, qualified for the World Cup in 1982. But since then, it's been rather slim pickings. And, of course, limited preparation time for their new coach, Nabil Maloul. This is Matthew Sporanovic, one of several A-League-based players who are part of the squad for Ange Postecoglou. The cross whipped in. They'll look for Tim Cahill, of course, at every opportunity. And the first corner conceded by Hussein Fadel.
They're very good defending on the near post. Remember Hussein Fadel from an impressive Asian Cup in 2011. He anchored that defence. They started promisingly in that group too, included China and Uzbekistan, the host Qatar. They couldn't get out of the group after that promising start.
Luongo looking to go short and gets it back off Cruz. Work it back towards Troisi, and then crossed eventually by Bayic. One in the air by Jedinak. Headed clear again by that man, Hussein Fadel.
He might have done better there, Milo Jedinak, with that opportunity to hit the ball. He quite clearly won the physical contest.
That's good closing down by Aziz Mashan. Threads it through the legs of Jedinak. Tracking back was Luongo. And Australia can build again through their captain, Milo Jedinak. Troisi looking to hit first time towards Matthew Leckie, who's now scampering after the ball. Kuwait retain it well. This is Khaled Al-Qahtani. Franich unable to find Cahill. Well, perhaps clear tactics already from the Kuwaitis. Looking to sit deep and perhaps pinch possession and then launch counter-attacks through the creativity of Aziz Mashan. Runners will look to join in, particularly down the flanks. Australia expected to enjoy the lion's share of possession. It's a decent ball from Sainsbury. Not the surest of first touches from Mas Luongo, and he's committed another foul. That's two. He's going to have to be careful.
Franich just easing his way into the contest as well. Luongo with the hands on the back, and Franich with the sandwich play.
Mistake from Al-Qahtani. Puts the pressure back on Kuwait. Bound to be nerves on opening nights from both teams. It's more assured from Jedinak. Here's Australia's golden boy, Tim Cahill, but he's lost out. No look pass from Aziz Mashan. Already looks the class act for Kuwait.
Beautiful touches, moves across the ground with real ease. And it's been a good opening from Kuwait. Managed to weather the forays that Australia have made. Just one dangerous cross into the box, which was well dealt with by Hussein Fadel.
That's clever. That's beautifully done. And Al-Qahtani in behind. And Australia caught napping there.
A dangerous moment. Masluongo clocked off. Ivan Franjic at right fullback was outnumbered. The ball in behind. There's Masluongo just going off screen there. The back heel found the free runner. Khaled Al-Qahtani making the penetration.
Sultan Al-Anazi with the delightful piece of skill to set up that chance. They have a corner whipped in low by Aziz Mashan. There's the opening goal from Hussein Fadel. Melbourne is stunned. Kuwait take the lead through their defender. A corner whipped in low by Aziz Mashan. And Hussein Fadel stooped to conquer a Kuwait lead.
Well, how to kill the party of the home crowd, and the small knot of Kuwaiti fans celebrate robustly. And it's sloppy defending from the Socceroos. It's a beautiful execution in the end. Hussein Fadel with a header defensively to deny Australia moments ago from the crossing situation. And he dives at full stretch, unmarked at the near post. Matt Ryan can't defend his goal adequately. And the Socceroos chasing the game. Kuwait off to a flyer.
Joy unbridled for the Gulf nation. They lead here, as they did in Canberra back in 2009. And the opening goal of the 2015 AFC Asian Cup has not gone the way most fans inside this stadium would have predicted. And it's a sloppy, sloppy goal for Australia to concede, but Kuwait won't care.
No, well, sloppy not just from the corner, but the fact that the ground was conceded for the corner to be won. And Masluongo didn't go with his runner. Kuwait played in behind by that nice back heel. Khaled Al-Qahtani won the corner, and from there Australia compounded the earlier error. Luongo again asleep at the wheel.
Well, goodness me, this was not in the script for the host nation. And is the curse about to strike again, Andy? The host nation on opening night.
Well, possibly. Let's look at a couple of the historic facts. The point about Kuwait and Australia is they're one of a very few AFC nations to have a winning record against Australia. Australia's last home loss 20 games ago was against Kuwait in Canberra, March 2009. Concession again from a set piece on that day.
Since then, for the Socceroos, 15 wins and 5 draws on home turf. But trailing in the biggest tournament ever hosted on these shores. And there was almost a stunned silence that dropped around this beautiful venue as Hussein Fadel nestled his header into the back of Matt Ryan's net. Here's Sainsbury. Australia like a boxer that's been caught flush on the chin. Just trying to shake the mist from in front of their eyes. Here's Bajic. Squares it up for Sainsbury. Luongo. One-two with Franjic. And the flag has gone up for the infringement from Khaled Al-Qahtani. Just left a foot dangling.
And Masluongo, despite a couple of defensive frailties and a little bit of a nervous start, lunging tackle, there's the contact. The assistant referee on the near touchline correctly waving his flag, an opportunity for Australia to strike back quickly, settle their own nerves, which have been pretty evident for one or two of the players.
A sense of anticipation gathers around Melbourne Rectangular Stadium. Can Luongo get the delivery right? Referee Ermatov sorting out the usual little push and shove between Sainsbury and Sultan Alonese. Goes deep towards Baranovic. No problems for Hamid Youssef.
Australian eyes will be thinking back to their first game at an Asian Cup final, Simon, in Bangkok against Oman. After the hugely successful 2006 World Cup campaign, a lot was expected. Down 1-0 against Oman in Bangkok until Timmy Cahill rescued a point in the 92nd minute or so. It's an eerie feeling. Even in these early stages, the Socceroos will need to break the shackles. Kuwait looking poised and comfortable.
Al-Qahtani, again a little back heel. That time the Socceroos alive to it. Bajic, a little bit beyond James Troisi, and the pass is just not sticking at the moment. James Troisi apparently tearing the house down at training. Gets his chance today. Bresciano left on the bench, presumably, given the fact he's 34, Andy, to save his legs for, if not later on in this game, then certainly later on in the tournament.
Well, you know, that to me was the contentious is too strong a word, the big talking point on the Australian starting 11. Luongo all reports how bright he was. It would seem as though he's taken the place of Bresciano in this match, and to start it, I'd sort of thought that Bresciano, to help settle the nerves, would have been a more obvious option.
Wasn't the greatest first touches from Faisal Zayed, but Al-Qahtani takes over and threads it through Franic. Leckie was providing cover. The shot was still fired in eventually.
So you want a litmus test or a barometer as to not just the scoreline, but how this game is unfolding and how Kuwait are going to conduct themselves. Well, the back heels are coming thick and fast. The little nutmegs, the sharp turns on the dribble, the burst of speed on the first metre or two when in possession, all signs of how good Kuwait are feeling about themselves, which you can understand.
Might have been a foul there on Leckie, but referee's happy for it to go on. Here is Leckie, looking for Cahill, who can leap, we know that. But he was well marshalled there, in fairness, by Farhad Al-Hajiri, who is one of the tallest players in the Kuwaiti lineup. He's obviously been detailed to take care of Cahill, those aerial challenges. And then a foul again by Luongo.
Well, the Socceroos' touch has deserted them in the early moments. Kuwait have found theirs on the back of that confidence-boosting goal. There's the cross from Leckie. It's hanging up nice and high. Timmy Cahill leapt but couldn't get the meaningful contact he was after. Well defended by Al-Hajiri.
Syed Alonese floating it forward towards halfway. Again, Faisal Zayed unable to reel the ball in. Bajic. Cruz. Time and space enough to turn. The Kuwaitis now have something to defend. So they set their stall out to do and then try and pinch them on the break. That's exactly what they've been able to do. Australia haven't been able to find the answers as yet.
Well, Kuwait's defensive zone is packed to the rafters. Oh, they're swarming like bees on any half possession opportunity. They're covering each other brilliantly, reacting well, anticipating beautifully. And the Socceroos so far with no answer.
Sultan Alanese losing out, and now Lecky will gallop onto that. And Kuwait got a bit lucky there because there was a stumble from Musaid Alanese, and he fell onto the ball and clearly used the arm, deemed to be accidental. Lecky can't link up with Luongo. Franic. Troisi. Bajic back for Sporanovic. Everybody behind the ball for Kuwait. It's up to Australia to try and unlock the door. Kuwait will be more than content for them to have the ball in these sorts of areas. Now they'll try and press. Cruz, edge of the box. Clear foul from Hussein Fadel. The goal scorer gets a yellow card to go with his goal.
Well, Australia squirmed their way through the congestion. It wasn't completely convincing, but finally a give-and-go moment, and that's what you need in attack defence that's defending a lead. The goal scorer now with a yellow card. That challenge on Robbie Cruz. Australia needs to turn the temperature up. They've got to move the ball and themselves much quicker.
Well, this is right on the edge of the box. Hassim Youssef on red alert as the crowd noise reaches a crescendo once more. Will it be the left-footed Troisi perhaps to curl it? More likely you'd fancy Miller Jedinak, who, as we know, can make a dead ball talk. Certainly has done in the past. Big chance for Australia. Tim Cahill causing mischief at the end of that Kuwaiti wall. You'd imagine he'd try and break and maybe take one of those defenders with him to create the angle for Jedinak or Troisi. It is Jedinak, and it took a touch off the wall. It'll be a corner.
Had promise off the boot from the Australian skipper, but the wall accidentally, as it turns out, Fahad Al-Hajiri turned his back and the ball skimmed off his head to safety. A corner to defend now for Kuwait,
which Luongo will take. Well dealt with by Musaid Alanese, the Kuwait captain. Back it comes for Franic. Not quite got the depth on that delivery. Back in by Sporanovic. Here's Cruz on the volley. And again, the Kuwaitis comfortable in defence, and now they'll look to break through the tricky Aziz Mashan, who's upended rather unceremoniously. And there may be a talking to here for Ivan Franic from Ravshan Ermatov.
Yeah, good experience refereeing, as you'd expect from the Confederation's best, but he's been involved in 3 foul situations, now 2 clearly. Here's one in combination with Mas Luongo, and the ref said, I reckon, Ivan, one more, and you'll go in my book. But unconvincing Australia. The second effort there, just that lack of confidence and quality in the final third. Certainly at this point, Simon, a lack of speed. Really got to move the ball much quicker if they're going to presume to destabilise this very well set up Kuwait defensive unit.
And in Aziz Mashan, they've got an excellent outlet. Able to hold the ball up and wait for the runners to come in support. Or, as we saw in that last passage of play, draw the foul. Al-Qahtani. Helped on by Alanese. Faisal Zayed trying to make it stick. Farhad El Ibrahim.
It's a good scrap.
Driven backwards.
It's a good scrap at the moment. Kuwait, understandably, the bit well and truly between their teeth. Well, Australia really struggling physically to impose themselves, struggling to get across the field and close Kuwait in. Better pressure from the Socceroos has won that throw, but they've turned it over again very, very cheaply.
Storanovic trying to carry the ball forward, but there's no way through. Jedinak to try and angle it in the air towards Kale, and just got a little check there from Hussein Fadel. Maybe out of the eyesight's range of Ravshan Ermatov, just a little nudge.
Yeah, possibly, but it was pretty ordinary service into the penalty area. Defender's entitled to stand his ground.
And trailing arm has caught Aziz Bejic flush in the face. Brought tears to the eyes. Not so much, though, as Hussein Fadel's goal, which divides the teams. Rather surprisingly on this match day one of the 2015 AFC Asian Cup. Troisi. It's tight on Lecky. Clever first touch. And sliding in was that man Hussein Fadel again at the expense of a corner.
Well, he's been outstanding already, Hussein Fadel, and he's going to have to be reckoned for the duration. Socceroos with exactly what they needed on that occasion. Just a little caveat of what's required, that enormous acceleration from Matthew Lecky to get in behind the Kuwait defence.
Luongo deeper this time towards Jedinak. Jedinak will try and retrieve the loose ball. Goal kick is the decision. Well, what an extraordinary story potentially building here in Melbourne. Outsiders Kuwait, with a coach that's been in charge for less than a month, leading the host nation.
And Australia just letting Kuwait out again. That's not part of the party plan, I'm almost convinced. And they've won possession back now, which might ease some of the nerves, but they're not pressing Kuwait in their own half of the field nearly well enough.
I can tell you that little foray forward from Khaled Al-Qahtani didn't please his coach, who was out of his seat, telling him to get back in defensive position, quick, smart. That's the plan for Al Azraq, the blue. Lecky, clever. Through the legs and into the box. So Ravshan Ermatov had a very clear view of that. He was no more than 5 metres away and said no penalty. A challenge by Al Hajiri. Well, he is reckoned to be Asia's best, is the Uzbekistan official. And he was Johnny on the spot here as Lecky tried every trick in the book to get around his man. Australia, though, do have a corner again. This time it's going to be the outswinger from Troisi. Met by Al-Qahtani and volleyed back in by Luongo, but wide.
Good side of it, Luongo. The contact was decent. The direction was poor. Defended well again. In the initial instance by Kuwait. Great tonic that would have been for Mas Luongo. Had a good opportunity there as well. With solid contact that couldn't direct his effort.
It's beyond Al-Qahtani, but gets some help from Faisal Zayed. Throw-in's gone Kuwait's way. I suppose in a sense, Andy, if you're Nabil Malul with such little build-up time, only got the job on December the 18th, the plan was always going to be rather straightforward against the hosts. Contain, try and hit on the break.
With a couple of interesting selections along the way. He's, you'd have to say, adapted to the position very, very well.
Still a long way to go, though, before they're home and host for what would be the unlikeliest of wins. Just a reminder that that's a head-to-head record between the two nations, 10 meetings. Kuwait, 5 wins. Australia just 3, with a further 2 having been drawn. Now goes Frenic, too theatrically for the officials' liking. And off the shoulder of Faisal Zayed. Now Kuwait just caught asleep for a moment, but quickly back into position was Fahad El Ibrahim. And now they will look to break through Salah Al Sheikh. Back it'll come through Hussein Fadel. Too heavy off the boot of the goalkeeper, Hamid Yusuf. Almost half an hour played in Melbourne. Hussein Fadel, the goal scorer, after 8 minutes. Once had a trial with Nottingham Forest. And plays overseas in the UAE with Al Wada. One of only very few overseas-based players in this Kuwait squad. But he is a hero in that part of the Middle East at the moment. Now, Kuwait have got a man down injured, and Australia is certainly not stopping to allow him to have treatment. Why would they?
Well, here comes the gamesmanship. And Timmy Cahill not required to stop the game. He's quite entitled to keep playing and accept the attacking opportunity. Any player would for any team. The Kuwaitis have taken offence. And a lack of concentration in the end from Tim Cahill meant that the opportunity wasn't more realised for Australia.
Well, if there was contact, it's certainly only slight. Fahad Al Hajiri, who plays for Al Salmir in the local domestic league in Kuwait. Quick application of the old magic sponge and he'll be okay, I'm sure. Much sympathy from the Australians in the audience, as you might anticipate, Andy.
Well, the key question is how much sympathy is he going to get from the referee? Plenty. He's invited straight back onto the field.
Hence the cascade of boos you've just heard as well. Half an hour played, and Ange Postecoglou and his team have got a problem they didn't think they'd have at kick-off. Sainsbury. Again, nobody within a cooey of either Jedinak or Matt Sporanovic, nor Luongo here. Kuwait sat very deep. The quality just hasn't been there as yet for Australia.
No, there's no automation to their play. And it's a function of confidence at the moment. But the heads are down. The touch is lacking conviction. There's insufficient movement in front of the man in possession of the ball. And Kuwait is sitting back and just picking Australia off by and large.
More promise here, perhaps. Little flick from Leckie. Down goes Frenic. It breaks for Cruz, who tries to burst through 2 defenders. Luongo is there. Cruz on the turn. And the flag is up for offside against Robbie Cruz, I think. A little more promise there for Australia, almost by force of will rather than quality.
Yeah, and it was offside, Robbie Cruz, correctly called, and a little haphazard from the Socceroos. They don't want to get drawn into a pitched battle where it's just legs and arms and bodies flying around the penalty area. Good from Sainsbury. Australia with no trouble, Simon, so far, understandably, getting the ball over halfway as Kuwait are releasing that space. This has been the issue. Ball into the middle third, the wide positions. No one able to flick the switch with a run or a pass and open up Kuwait.
Lecky. Luongo closed down super efficiently by Khalid Al-Qahtani. And he's back in position for the throw, and Luongo's away from him now. There's the goal! Tim Cahill, him again! Goals at 3 Asian Cups now, to go with goals at 3 World Cups. And Australia restore parity. It just had to be him, didn't it?
9 of Australia's 13 goals in the Postecoglou era have come from the foot or the head of Timmy Cahill. Huge relief for Mas Luongo, doing what he does best, attacking teams in and around the penalty area, and gets to the byline with real efficiency. He cuts back a beautiful ball, the ultimate weight to the ultimate predator of green and gold football. Timmy Cahill hits the back of the net and gets Australia level in Asian Cup finals football, not for the first time.
Well, where would the green and gold be without the goals of Timmy Cahill? Number 37 at international level, but Mas Luongo deserves credit as well for the assist. Here's Cahill involved again. The crowd are right back into this again now. And Cruz careers into his man. The free kick has gone the other way. I have to say, I thought that was a free kick for Kuwait.
Well, this is headline, trademark, vintage Robbie Cruz. He has such incredible speed off the mark that he caught everyone, yourself and me included, and the defender, napping. And just look how quickly he gets to that ball first, almost. But he got his body in that position where the referee made the call in favour of the attacking team. Australia's most fouled player has won another foul. And see if Australia can forge ahead from this free kick.
And now it's a real test for Kuwait. Crowd back on side with the Socceroos. After that early shock of falling behind, can they impose their will on the game? Troisi takes a breather and now delivers. Not his best. Easily dealt with by the Kuwaitis. Jedinak. Lecky using the body. Ball down, he goes inside the area again. Ravshan Urmatov could not have been any closer and says no.
Well, look at the difference in the Australian game now.
And they pinched it. Here's a chance. Lecky trying to go through the guts of the Kuwait defence. Held up for the moment. Luongo inside the penalty area. This way and that. He goes down. Again, the positioning of the referee absolutely superb, and he says no penalty.
Well, they're dropping like flies in the penalty area, Australia, and they're all claiming innocence. Here's the first one on Matt Lecky. No foul. Good call from the ref. Lecky looking dangerous. Australia looking more energetic. Here's the second. And I'm not giving a penalty for that either. Australia swarming now. First to the half balls. First to the second possession. Delivering forward. More early, more direct. But they've got a situation to defend now.
And it's Aziz Mashan, the tricky Aziz Mashan on the ball. And that's an intelligent release too. Al-Hajiri, ambitious. Nothing doing for Kuwait.
Well, it's a poor option again from Australia. Not dominating as they need to with the ball. They've obviously thrown out some of the cobwebs with that Timmy Cahill goal. And there's a greater vibrance about them, but there's not a greater quality at the moment.
Salah Al-Sheikh just getting a nudge from behind from James Troisi. A rare chance for Kuwait to push some bodies forward. Hussein Fadel out for Fahad Al-Hajiri. They're still getting a bit of curry from Australian fans. They haven't forgotten now. Lecky seizes on the loose ball, only briefly. That's a good turn from Faisal Zayed. And a good steal too from Luongo. This game just starting to come to the boil. Sainsbury allowed to carry it forward. Luongo. Touch inside from Franic, who continues the run and then delivers towards Cahill at the far post. Met in the air by Fahad Al-Hajiri.
There's more like it. According to my reckoning, it's only the second meaningful combination in the front third by Australia. Here comes another.
Good work by Troisi. Low delivery this time from Franic. Australia competing for the scraps more often than not. They're getting some joy from that too.
They're gradually getting into the swing of things, the Socceroos.
Said Alanese touching the ball into midfield. Here's that man Al-Hajiri again. You don't need me to call his name, just listen to the crowd. Rather aimless from Fahad Al-Ibrahim. Australia can ponder their next attack. Dummy from Troisi. Cruz trying to use the body to shield the ball. Invited the challenge. Got the decision. Ali Maqsood, the offender. Bayic trying to go around the outside of Al-Hajiri. This is Ali Al-Maqsood looking for the outlet of Aziz Mashan again. Franic. Lucky with a little touch around the corner. He's got the ricochet off Al-Qahtani. Just heard Ange Postecoglou there on our sideline microphone. The word was tempo. Keep the pressure on. Troisi right in the challenge of Al-Hajiri. And then Troisi on the follow-up, and I'm not sure the defender knew too much about that. Came off the back of the heel of Fahad Al-Ibrahim and away for a corner for Australia. Five minutes in the first half to go. Cahill always a threat in the air. It's angled in towards yet an out, but referee spotted a foul.
That's a heavy clash.
Yedenak's call for attention immediately. Heavy whack to the left shin.
He must have maybe twisted his ankle on the way down.
Yep. Good call, Andy. That's exactly what happened.
He knows he's in trouble. Milo Jedinak is made of granite. We know that. And I don't know that I've ever seen Milo, maybe out of good luck as much as anything, but need to receive attention on a football field.
Well, this doesn't look good for the Socceroos skipper. I don't know whether he's rolled that ankle. The stretcher has been called for. Whether he'll need it or not remains to be seen.
He knew straight away there was trouble. He waved to the bench immediately.
And immediately, both Mark Milligan and Matt Mackay have sent away to warm up. Well, you said he was made of granite. There's it. Oh, yeah, you can see it on that replay. He's clearly rolled that left ankle.
Well, you'd imagine he'll look to get through at least till half-time and get some closer attention, but he's walking pretty freely.
Just a flesh wound, says Miller. Take more than that.
Australia a man down at the moment.
Not for long. Jedinak wants to re-enter the fray.
He's been invited by the ref. Fourth official gives him the wave.
Half-time only a few minutes away, so chance to get a little bit more attention. Meantime, Troisi, clever. And will try and tee up Cruz, and he just put a little bit too much weight on that.
That's a poor option. And not that Cruz was a poor option, but the pass choice was a poor option. Instead of clipping that direct, he just rolls it around the outside of the defender and gives Robbie Cruz a chance to get the ball at his own feet.
No way through for Massaye Dalanese. Instead, it's Luongo looking to attack Khaled Al-Qahtani.
A terrific recovery from Mas Luongo, if I can call it that. He looked very nervous early doors. Didn't do the defensive work he needed, which led to the corner for the Kuwait goal. And a couple of nervous touches thereafter, but he's been very prominent since. Qatar defending deep, numbers packed.
Australia back in the groove somewhat. Franic to check and deliver. Great ball in! And what a header! And Australia lead by 2-1. And it is Massimo Luongo, one of the shortest players on the park, with the head. Socceroos 2-1.
Well, recovery officially complete. Sets up goal number 1. And then Mas Luongo drifting in between the Kuwaiti defenders and heads beautifully. Really and truly beautifully from Mas Luongo. Past the outstretched arm of Hamed Youssef. It's a beaut cross, but it's an even better finish. And what a turnaround in a half of football for an individual player.
Well, he had Tim Cahill standing behind him. Maybe he drew inspiration subconsciously from that. It was a prodigious leap. And what a time to score for Australia just before the break as we move into 2 minutes of stoppage time. A first international goal for Mas Luongo. And a night that began so badly for Australia has turned around, at least for the moment.
Well, they've got some scoreboard relief, Simon. The football hasn't been what they've been, the Socceroos have been after, and Kuwait have defended very, very well.
Let's see what they can do with an attacking free kick of their own. They did score, of course, from a set piece, a corner. Cahill left a bit in there as well on his man. There's just a little look there from Fahad Al-Ibrahim towards Ravshan Ermatov.
Well, it was a terrific free kick. And you have to say beautifully defended by Mats Peranovic.
Well, I think Cahill might have taken a little bit of the man before he got the ball there. Interesting. Lucky beaten in the air by Al-Qahtani.
Again,
strong play from Sainsbury.
Indeed, good work from Sainsbury. Well, the aerial route has settled Australia's nerves. I just wonder if they, after the break, can settle into some higher tempo, more penetrating football on the ground to add to their arsenal.
2 minutes of stoppage time are up now by my whistle, and by my watch, I should say, and certainly Revshan Ermatov agrees. Well, what a half of football to start this 2015 Asian Cup. Massimo Luongo with a header has given Australia the lead as we headed towards the interval after Tim Cahill had earlier equalised. Kuwait's shock opening goal delivered from the head of Hussein Fadel. A slow start for the Socceroos, but they've managed to get their noses in front at the interval. The half-time scoreline, Australia leading Kuwait by 2-1. Welcome back to Melbourne, and the best news for fans of Australia as the two teams make their way back out is that Mila Jedinak is there to lead the green and gold. We weren't 100% sure whether that's rolled ankle in the first half. Kostanj Postecoglou, the services of his captain, but there he is, looking to lead his team home to that all-important opening day success. And at the moment they are on track for that after a rather nervy start, conceding the first goal for what was the 9th time in 11 internationals. They've found a way back into the contest and found their way in front against Kuwait, thanks to goals from Tim Cahill, who else? And Massimo Luongo, channeling his inner Tim Cahill with a header. All that after Hussein Fadel had given Kuwait a shot lead as early as the 8th minute. And they'd looked well set, Al-Azraq, the blue, before Australia found their mojo and found their groove as the first half wore on. Now, can they get the job done? And of course, with South Korea also in Group A, also one of the pre-tournament favourites, they'll want to ensure that they do get the 3 points here this evening. Oman up next for Australia. Revshan Ermatov has had 1 or 2 penalty appeals, particularly from the Australians in that opening period, but one from Kuwait as well that was an interesting one towards the end of the section. And Tim Cahill appeared to play at the man rather than the ball. So far, the Uzbekistan official has waved away all of those appeals. He's now deep in conversation with the Kuwaiti captain, Moussaid Al-Anazi. So no change made by either coach off the bench as yet. There's the man whose goal divides the teams at the moment. And if the second half is as good as the first, then we are in for a treat, Andy Harper. There was plenty to talk about.
Well, it was a really enticing contest. Australia, the more powerful.
There's the first talking point.
Didn't take
He has
long.
gone right through him, Moussaid Al-Anazi on Tim Cahill.
Kuwait really set the cat amongst the pigeons with that goal, and then they defended very well, and a nervous Australia took a while to find their feet. They got their nose in front on the scoreboard without really getting into the football flow that I'm sure was their intention. 45 minutes under their belt, the nerves settled, a half-time talk to refocus, and a lead to now protect and maybe enhance.
And finally, Andy, Australia's found somebody else other than Tim Cahill to score a goal at international level.
Well, I think back to one of the friendlies as well where Timmy Cahill scored. May have been Saudi Arabia recently. And Mas Luongo was just there. It was a rasping counter-attack. Mas Luongo was there for a tap-in.
That's a foul. And the referee's going to go to his pocket for the first time and issue the yellow cards, which goes to Faisal Zayed. If that's my mistake, it is the second caution. Of course, he booked Hussein Fadel as well in the first period.
Yeah. They're just finishing that friendly in London, Australia-Saudi, I think it was the game. Mas Luongo on the counter-attack. He was on the goal line with a tap-in and Timmy Cahill beat him to it. There's the foul, yellow card following it. And so it was a little bit of symmetry that Timmy Cahill was right there when Luongo scored goal number 2 for Australia, right at the death of that first half.
And a free kick in this position spells danger for Kuwait. Another goal here and the match may well be almost beyond reach. James Troisi to deliver the in-swinger, left-footed. Kale's there, Jedinak's there, Sporanovic is there at the back post. Sainsbury there too. Troisi, too heavy.
James Troisi's general performance has been pretty good, but his set pieces haven't been. And that was sort of close. That really you've got to do better from that situation. The death of the first half, Australia with good momentum. Kuwait under the pump, free kick resulted, and Troisi couldn't aim up. It's been a little bit of a disturbing pattern for the Socceroos. Kuwait now behind on the scoreboard. Their pass is not sticking. They are not as full of their own opportunities and potential as they were when they were defending their lead.
Nabil Malul, deep in thoughts. That is not Ange Postecoglou, I can assure you. There he is.
They say coaches change games at half-time, but they
don't change their identity. I can tell you the rain has started to tumble down. It was predicted here in Melbourne tonight. Huge storm front passing through central, southern and parts of southeastern Australia. Huge bank of cloud. Well controlled by Bajic. Jedinak. Not the deftest of touches from Lucky.
Yeah, the attack broke down as his Bajic didn't have the width and didn't anticipate the width. Matthew Lecky's touch let him down. That's good sniping by Robbie Cruz.
Al-Hajiri driven back unfairly. Robbie Cruz, of course, only just back from that long-term injury, and he struggled to get his place back for his German club side by Leverkusen. One of those in competition for his spot. Son Heung-min is at this tournament with South Korea. And maybe in direct opposition in Brisbane on match day 3. He's stretching a little piece of it, I think. Mikhail and Hussein Fadl have tumbled into each other. It's the Kuwaitis come off worst. Clutching at the right ankle. And they just fell into each other, really.
Yeah, not much in that.
He's gone over on his right ankle as well, similar to Millie Jedinak in the first half.
Kuwait in these one-on-one situations defensively, by and large, have done very well. They're stretching a leg in, getting a body in front, making life difficult for their immediate opponent to secure possession and set up some passing sequences. They've fought really hard, Kuwait, emboldened by that goal lead. Won by the man receiving attention at the moment, Hussein Fadel.
Well, they are a proud football nation, the Kuwaitis. Qualified for every Asian Cup they've entered, except 2007 when they lost out to Australia in the group phase. Hussein Fadel not getting much sympathy from the home fans, but of course they haven't seen the replay, which did clearly show that he went over on that right ankle.
Yeah, it was one of those accidental situations. The same circumstance befell the Aussie skipper, Millie Jedinak. He's retaken the field and he's moving well. I hope the same is going to be the case for Hussein Fadel, who's hobbling very noticeably, making the same speedy recovery as the Australian skipper.
Rain getting heavier.
again, James Troisi just rushing things, a little bit impetuous. He is a player with beautiful touch on that left foot, but it's pretty much eluded him at key moments today as the rain tumbles down in Melbourne.
Well, that's perhaps blessed relief for the Farmers. It was oppressively hot a couple of days ago when we arrived in Melbourne, Andy.
Yeah, it's drought-breaking and fire-quenching rain that's falling from the skies at the moment. Ivan Franjic leaping high, knee in the small of the back. Sultan Al-Anezi, the recipient. Doesn't tickle either.
Here's Hussein Fadel, who looks to be okay after his earlier contest with Kale, which left him a little bit lame. Kale stolen the ball, and then Troisi's run it over the whitewash.
And again, off the hook Kuwait, an under-hit pass this time. Troisi, the recipient, he's overhit a few. And when he was away and in open territory, the pass to him was under-hit.
Cruz. Oh, beautifully done by Robbie Cruz. For he's headed off with the pass by Hussein Fadel, who's again pulled up somewhat lame. That was a terrific intervention from the Kuwaiti number 4. And what about the approach play from Robbie Cruz?
From an Australian viewpoint, Simon, these are all very important bricks being built in the confidence wall. And Robbie Cruz, until his injury which ruled him out of World Cup selection, was arguably the first picked in an Australian team because of that sort of play. And it's great to see him finding his way back, but you'd have to say it was brilliantly defended by Hussein Fadel. What a warrior performance from the Kuwaiti goal scorer and central defender. He's limping on that injured ankle, but he's throwing his body into the contest.
Not sure how much longer he's going to be able to soldier on, Hussein Fadel. Kuwait is in deep discussion on the bench. They have summoned the defender Amar Al-Martouk, who will probably be on presently. Meantime, Cruz unable to get round the limping Hussein Fadel. Really, Kuwait need to make that change as soon as possible, because that injury cost them a third goal. That could be curtains.
Well, even injured, he's been the only man stopping Robbie Cruz on Australia's last 2 attacks. And it doesn't seem as though he's going to be able to last the distance.
Cruz. Good switch. Infield is Jedinak. Kale, first time pass. Couldn't find Luongo. Drop of the shoulder from Faisal Zayed. Only Aziz Mashan over halfway for Kuwait.
Oh, that was brilliant defending again from Trent Sainsbury. Jumped, his hang was enough to win the ball cleanly and direct the header to Mila Jedinak. Australia can get control of the game again.
Matt Ryan, grateful of the touch of the football. Barely involved. Luongo having one for Franjic to chase, and he got there, and he gets a corner.
A beautiful weight on the pass again from Luongo. Terrific to see Ivan Franjic really open the lungs. The change for Kuwait imminent. Unusual to do this from a defensive set piece like a corner, particularly where Fadel has been so dominant, that the change will be made.
Well, it had to be made, let's be honest. So Hussein Fadel, whose night began so beautifully with that opening goal, is replaced by Al-Qadisi's Amar Al-Matouk. His first task is to help defend a corner. We've got a yellow streamer that's blown across the park. There he is, Hussein Fadel. Stooping header in the 8th minute, giving Kuwait an unlikely advantage. Night's ending on a rather more sour note. He's not had too much assistance either from the Kuwait medical team. He's
Make your own way.
to make your own way, right?
Make your own way home. Well, he couldn't have done any more for his country tonight.
Lecky leaves it for Bajic. Australia in the mood perhaps for a third goal. Ali Al-Maqsid turning into trouble, giving it to Luongo.
Well, Australia's defensive transition has been almost 100% improvement in the first half effort. Kuwait can barely get a touch of the ball now. And as soon as a change of possession, Australia 2 or 3, the nearest 2 or 3.
Good disguised ball from Bajic. Troisi going for the return from Cruz. Claims for a foul, breaks here, Kale! Good save from Hamid Youssef. Keeps Kuwait in the game. Maybe not for long. It's recycled back through Franic. Chested down by Cruz. Bursting through is James Troisi. And held up by Fahad Al-Ibrahim.
Well, it's every blue hand of the pump for Kuwait at the moment. It's the defensive transition which is turning it for Australia, resulting in that last chance for Timmy Cahill. Excellently saved by Hamid Youssef.
Here they come again. Luongo. Kuwait set very deep. Crossing from Franic. It's Moussaïd Al-Anazi. Only partly clear, back in by Troisi. Now Bajic. He's robbed by Ali Al-Maqsid. Kuwait looking to launch the counter, but there's nothing doing.
Well, this is the sort of football that Ange Postecoglou, the coach of Australia, prepares his teams. This is incessant pressure, relentless. Grinding play by the Socceroos.
It's Cruz. It's in for Luongo. Gets a metre of space. Lecky! How did that stay out? Off the frame of the goal. Unbelievable.
Oh, brilliant again from the Socceroos, who turn the screws. Via Cruz to Lecky. Brilliant effort. A snapshot. Great touch. 2 left-footed touches. And they win the ball again. Australia coming very strongly indeed. And a very important phase of the game, not just for Kuwait, but for Australia as the home team, to make sure that they capitalise on this pressure. They build on this momentum and don't get hit by a sucker punch. Kuwait are just one moment away from sending Australia into nervous tension again. Australia just a moment away from totally asserting themselves.
They're cooking up a storm here in the rain of Melbourne. Here's Cruz, down he goes, penalty! Well, Robbie Cruz maybe got a bit lucky there because he didn't reel the ball in first time cleanly. But the challenge from Sultan Al-Anazi wasn't clean either. And Australia have a golden chance now, probably to seal the points from the penalty spot.
Well, it's Robbie Cruz's speed that gets him into positions. It was a poor first touch, but he's just so lightning quick in general play that defenders get very nervous and they do dangle a leg. Sometimes more in good hope than good management. And Sultan Al-Anazi erred on that occasion. Skipper Jedinak to the spot. Cruz wins the penalty. Can Jedinak seal the deal?
The skipper leads the way, and they're singing in the rain.
Oh, what a captain of the national team Miller Jedinak has emerged. Captain of his club in the Premier League, Crystal Palace. And he salutes the crowd, and the crowd salutes him. Hamid Youssef, the goalkeeper for Kuwait, dived very early here. He's gone well before the ball's kicked. It's strange goalkeeping from the Kuwaiti custodian. But captain of club and country nails it for Australia, and some breathing space for the Socceroos.
Well, along with Tim Cahill, Miller Jedinak has been virtually the only provider of goals in the Ange Postecoglou era. Massimo Luongo's chipped in with one as well tonight. Otherwise, it's a familiar tale. And now Nabil Maloul is going to make his move. And one of those we thought we might see from the off here today. Youssef Nasser replaces Aziz Mashan, who's been one of the more impressive Kuwaiti players this evening. Tried his level best to hold play up, but Youssef Nasser scored against the Socceroos in an Asian Cup qualifying draw, 2-2 in Kuwait City 4 years ago. And now he's on to lead the line for Al Azraq. But it's a long way back for Nabil Maloul's team now. Play on, says Ravshan Ermatov. They've got a chance here, Kuwait. Youssef Nasser, it's a narrow angle, and Matt Ryan forced into his first meaningful action of the game. And there was a push on Cahill, was there? No, referee again says, on we go. Well, Kuwait have got to come out now.
And Youssef Nasser, a fantastic player. And obviously the game plan was to sit deep and use the trickery of Aziz Mashan, the number 10 in transition, and he didn't really think. A couple of moments in possession when he certainly looked the quality player he is, but Youssef Nasser brings a different dynamic.
As does Tommy Juric, who's about to replace Tim Cahill. And listen to the ovation for Australia's greatest ever goal scorer.
And look at him, suck in the applause. Why not? He just has delivered like no other for the green and gold.
And continues to. Here's the next generation. Big Tommy Juric, who scored a big goal in the Champions League final in Asia against Al Hilal. Gets to play his part in what looks like being now a successful night for the green and gold after that early scare, unless there is late drama here in Melbourne.
Well, we've seen from Youssef Nasser already on the ball.
Tees it up. Here's Ali Al-Maqsid. No crosses. Steered away by Mats Baranovic.
So what you get with Youssef Nasser is a greater danger further out from goal. He's got great range to his game. And in those clearances or raking passes out of Kuwait's defence, you can imagine Youssef Nasser causing more trouble. And Australia need to be on their mettle. They've dominated the second half. They've got the 2-goal lead. But games can change in an instant.
This is Al-Matouk, who's boxed in the corner. Managed to earn his team a throw. He's creeping forward down that touchline. Infringement by Juric.
Well, the big question for Kuwait, with one substitute card left to play. If, when, does Bader, the number 17, the talisman, it's got to be. Now, the longer it goes, the more it has to be a case of injury, in which case his hands are really tied. But if he's even close to playing, Bader has to be the man.
Well, we were told he wasn't quite 100% fit. Maybe given the way the scoreline looks, perhaps Nabil Maloul is thinking, well, we're going to lose this game anyway. Save him for Oman, save him for South Korea.
Well, they're calling for the sub. The assistance has run to the southern end of the goal where the Kuwaiti subs are warming up. Quite make out who particularly has been called.
Well, Badr Al-Mutawa is certainly one of that group. And he's going through some pretty strenuous limbering up exercises. I fancy we might see him shortly. Sliding challenge from Franic was late. There is Badr Al-Matawa, arguably Kuwait's greatest ever player.
He's a fantastic player. Very comfortable in my belief that had he chosen to, he could have easily played his football outside of Kuwait. He had a couple of stints in Europe, didn't quite come off. Work permit at Notts Forest, I think.
That's a good hook around the corner by Lackey. He'll continue the run. Cruz is there as well. It's Robbie Cruz to clinch it. They look for a second penalty, Australia, but in fairness, Robbie Cruz was not one of those appealing.
No, and it was simply brilliant defending by Al-Matawa. A little sloppy in that counter-attack, if you're going to be fussy about it for the Socceroos. That was a brilliant opportunity. Look at Yousuf Nasser again. That's the point about Yousuf Nasser.
61 caps, 30 goals. It's a heck of a strike ratio.
And it's the danger he poses from range. That is quite exquisite defending.
Terrific tackle.
Off the bench as well, against the man who's just won the penalty for Australia. Not
Beautifully
really
timed.
Yeah, well, not really into the game's rhythm yet, and it was just immaculate work. Robbie Cruz moving a little gingerly on the back of it.
Jedinak. Pass didn't stick for Lecky. He was eager to atone, a little too eager.
And he just turned the discussion to Kuwait again. What an enticing front third they have. That's ambitious.
Cheeky.
What an enticing front third they have with Badr Al-Matawa. We know what he's about. Fantastic player. Aziz Marshan, the number 10, who's come off. He's a tidy player as well. In combination, you just imagine, with Yousuf Nasser as well. This is a triumvirate that can cause a lot of trouble to opposing teams.
Bardo is almost ready. Nathan Burns definitely is ready. That's a clever touch from Cruz. Lackey didn't quite read it. Just one or two little mistakes creeping into Matthew Lackey's game last few minutes. Did strike the crossbar, of course, quite beautifully. This is Ali Al-Maqsid. Bit of open pasture ahead of him. Now with Al-Matawa. Gets a corner off Bajic.
Well, they're not going to give up without a fight, Kuwait. They're pressing well. They've found a desire to play with the football, pushing numbers forward, as they must, of course.
Farhad El Ibrahim is one potential threat in the air. 6 feet 3 inches tall. You won't be surprised to hear he's being marshalled by the 6 feet 4 inch tall Matthew Sporanovic. It's Al-Maqsid's corner, ripped with pace towards the near post, dealt with by Sporanovic. It bounces off the chest of Franic. And back with Al-Matawa. Now Al-Maqsid, disguised pass down the line. Salah Al-Sheikh picks out a teammate. Chance! Oh, off the crossbar from Farhad El Ibrahim. Kuwait so close to getting back into the contest.
I tell you what, Simon, that is a miraculous save by Matt Ryan. No question in my mind that Ryan saved that onto the crossbar, and what a moment for Kuwait. And nervous for Australia. They realise still how close this is. 2 goals on the score sheet certainly is the difference between the teams. But the game and the energy can change in a heartbeat.
That won't reach Yousuf Nasser. They've come out to play, Kuwait. They have to. Here's El Ibrahim, whose rasping drive was denied only by the outstretched arm of Matt Ryan and the crossbar. And credit to Ryan, who's been a spectator virtually all game.
Well, just have a look at this. It's speculative. It's unbelievable from Matt Ryan.
What a save.
What an incredible save.
Here's the change for Australia. They're second. Robbie Cruz's night's work is done. He's going to be replaced by the current leader in the Golden Boot race in the Hyundai A-League. Nathan Burns.
Just 10 years ago, Simon, that change might have happened in reverse. Two youngsters coming through the Australian youth teams. It was Matt Sporanovic and Nathan Burns, two of the starlets. Robbie Cruz just making his way. Robbie Cruz has burst forward. And it's now he who gets the starting berth and is replaced by Nathan Burns.
Carlo Dalcatani moving a little bit gingerly, and potentially more moves afoot on the bench. Badr Al-Matawa still waits his turn. When he does arrive, it will be his 150th cap for his country, Badr Al-Matawa.
We talk about the emergence of young players on the world scene, Simon, and you look at the Australian goalkeeper, Matt Ryan, of whom there's always been a lot of promise and joy and expectation. And nervous time at the World Cup in Brazil, it should be said. And he showed it as much as anyone. But I tell you what, hasn't he broken through completely on the international stage now? That was a save to savour. Quite remarkable from the man from Club Brugge.
And indicative of the sort of form he's in for his club. Of course, he won goalkeeper of the year last season. That's charged down by Troisi, and alive to it was Juric, but he just couldn't chase it down.
Look at him dominating, barking orders. I can tell you he's a good 20 metres outside his own penalty area at the moment. Screaming instructions like a sheepdog herding the mob.
Kuwait want to make their change. Al-Qatani limps off. Problems with his shoulder. And here he is, Badr Al-Matawa. 150th cap for his country, 47 goals. He turns 30 tomorrow. He has had a few injury problems, but he is a terrific footballer. Fast and tricky and more than capable of causing Australia problems, which he did. Scored against them in an Asian Cup qualifier all the way back in 2006.
Set up the goal to which you referred of Yousuf Nasser in the come-from-behind draw in Kuwait City 4 years ago. What a moment that was in Asian football. What a player this guy is. And a word of acknowledgement for Khaled Al-Qatani, the number 6, who's carrying his shoulder very noticeably. Well, that shoulder was injured early in the first half when Australia scored their first goal.
Now Nathan Burns onto that in a flash, but not quite at the pace of the game. Perhaps put it behind Troisi. Now it's with Bajic, who has time to measure it. Oh, what a header! Oh, Nathan Burns! So close to his first international goal. That was spectacular. He flew through the air. And Hamid Yousuf was clutching thin air. Didn't get near it. Back in by Bajic, deeper this time.
Poor delivery.
Wow.
Well, Kuwait have held firm, and they've done well. But they've been saved by that crossbar twice. They're the facts of the matter. Nathan Burns has just done remarkably. That's pure instinct from a guy who's in rare goal-scoring form. He's a rare talent. The potential unrealised, but signs are good for Nathan Burns.
And signs good for Australia. After that nervy start, seems an awful long time ago now. They've really found their groove and imposed their game, their will on Kuwait and perhaps this AFC Asian Cup. Yousuf Nasser. Came off Troisi last, did it? Yep, that's the decision. Corner Kuwait.
I mean, you don't really like getting in the game of second-guessing coach decisions because you don't know what's gone on in the lead-up. But Yousuf Nasser, since he's come on the field, has shown exactly why it was a surprise that he wasn't included in the starting 11. Very awkward customer for Australia.
Al-Maqsid's corner. It was Al-Matawa who went for it. Lecky got a piece of it, and it's hooked clear by Jedinak. Burns, inventive, and it breaks Carney for Australia. And away will race Matthew Leckie. Well, should have done, really. Turned into a cul-de-sac there,
Yeah,
Leckie.
his touches let him down this evening, Leckie. He's
And then
otherwise...
he's too eager to try and atone, but Australia do have it back through Troisi.
Nothing a goal won't fix for Matt Leckie.
Here he goes again. Full of confidence, Australia. Troisi. Jedinak. Further right is Franic. Luongo. In towards Juric, who tries to shield it. Now Al Ibrahim, who came closest of anybody to dragging Kuwait back into the game. Al Mutawa. Lovely little check.
Just delightful.
And links up with Yusuf Nasser for the first time. Al Mutawa is onside and in behind. Good save by Ryan. Al Mutawa again. And Australia defend it somehow.
Well, great goal.
The threat is there.
And great work given Franic. That's how. Beautiful pass.
Outside of the boot from Bajic. Leckie rides the challenge of one. Still Leckie towards the far post where Juric was stationed. Well, it's exciting stuff at both ends of the park.
That's great to watch. And again, Matt Ryan, brilliant save down to his right. And then Ivan Franic with a strong tackle.
Sporanovic sets it up again. Bajic along the deck. Again, not a certain touch from Leckie. Ditto Sultan Alanese, and Kuwait are pinned back in their own defensive third once more. Game being played at Australia's pace. Kuwait with a much bigger threat now that they've got Al Mutawa and Yusuf Nasser on the field of play. Luongo carries it into the penalty area. He's not going to be able to get around the defender Fahad Al-Hajiri.
Yeah, just a little too keen, Mas Luongo.
And Ryan again.
This guy's
talking to his defenders. Great save, low down to his right.
Badr Matawa is a sensational player. Then the presence of mind to set up a second opportunity. But he started that attack, if you recall, by his composure in the centre of the field. Turned to face Australia's defence, squared up the back four, penetrated with the run and the pass, and then got in behind to receive the return ball. And it was all hell to pay thereafter for the Socceroos.
Ten minutes to go in Melbourne. Sultan Al Sheikh. Amar Al Matuk. That's a hospital ball, really, for Musaid Alanese. And an ambitious return. Crowd of over 25,000 here at Melbourne Rectangular Stadium, thoroughly enjoying what they're witnessing here tonight.
And they're applauding the likely entrance to the theatre of Mark Bresciano, the local hero.
Started his career here, of course, many, many years ago now with Carlton, now defunct club in the old National Soccer League. What sterling service he's given his country down the years.
You just think on Mark Bresciano, who is stripping off, it is to be him. Didn't see national team football. It was almost an unofficial but self-imposed exile after the 2006 World Cup. And he re-emerged in qualifying for the 2014 World Cup at this stadium or around against Saudi Arabia. And he hasn't looked back since. The twilight of his career, playing now in Qatar for Al Gharafa. Enormous talent about to make his entrance.
Knows the tactics of the opposition coach well, Nabil Maloul, who is formerly in charge of Qatari Stars League club, Al Jaish. Yusuf Nasser Seeing off the threat of Sporanovic is the dangerous Spada Almatoa. Fires it in low, cleared by Luongo. Controlled by Almatuk, he's caught there by Troisi. And Kuwait will have a chance from the set piece. Still Bresciano waits. Not going to make the change while they're defending a free kick. There he is. Well, again, there's a little bit of a disagreement between
Yusuf Nasser and Mile Adenek.
It's not too friendly one either. Just cool it, lads, says the referee. Now we're ready. Still it goes on. Always does, doesn't it, from these situations. Ali Al-Maqsood to fire it in, and Jedinak was the man who watched it all the way through. Cross is a dangerous one towards Al-Matawa. Bayic first to the loose ball. And then chopped down rather crudely. Free kick Australia. Pressure relieved.
It's a terrific story, this too, for Aziz Bayic. Professional career is flying, and now his international career is flying.
Well, Ange Postecoglou's decision to play Massimo Luongo has been vindicated tonight. He set up a goal for Tim Cahill and then scored one. Cahill-esque it was in the air too. Well done, Massimo Luongo.
Well, it's the master who replaces the apprentice. The apprentice's start was nervous, but didn't he come home with a wet sail? Fabulous performance in total from Mas Luongo, and a curtain call for Mark Bresciano,
who didn't play in the last Asian Cup in Qatar as part of that self-imposed retirement, and says he might retire after this one. He's got a bit to do before then. Here's Juric onside, chance to seal it, on target, beaten away by the goalkeeper. Troisi on the follow-up. And an easy gather for Hamid Youssef, second time around. Quick release too. Kuwait desperate, 6 minutes to go. They led as early as the 8th minute through Hussein Fadel. Outside of the boot from Lecky. Oh, good save from Hamid Youssef to deny Nathan Burns a second time. Teed up again for Bresciano. In towards Juric. And claimed by the goalkeeper.
Well, maybe a brickbat for his effort saving or attempting to save the penalty, but bouquets for Hamid Youssef. Back-to-back outstanding contributions. How he saved that on Nathan Burns. That was a goal for all money. Beautifully picked out by Matthew Lecky.
Oh, what a heck of a contest this has been, and Kuwait have certainly played their part.
There's no question they've played with great attitude, great aptitude, terrific commitment.
But it's the Australian fans, you can hear, and understandably so. And if this sets the tone for the AFC Asian Cup 2015, then there are 3 mouth-watering weeks ahead of us. Open attacking football from both teams. Well, from Kuwait after they fell behind. Let's put that in as the caveat. They've shown they're more than capable. And here's Yusuf Nasser. He's going to get a corner.
Difficult player to handle. Trent Sainsbury did just that. Look at this goalkeeping. Beautiful work from Matt Lecky. Outside of the right foot, if you don't mind. Weighted perfectly. That's freakish. We've seen some freakish goalkeeping here. Both ends of the field.
Look how quickly Matthew Lecky gobbled up the ground there. I think Al-Matouk had about a 5-metre start on him. Boy, he's quick. The only problem is occasionally he forgets to take the ball with him, Andy.
Well, he's power personified, Matt Lecky. He's having a great time of it with Ingolstadt in Bundesliga 2. He just needs a goal for Australia to break the inertia. Kuwait need a goal to give themselves some hope here opening night, Asia Cup 2015.
Badr Al-Matar trying to provide, but he's put it behind his strike partner, Yusuf Nasser. Troisi got the wrong side of Al-Matouk, who is having his jersey held as well. And good refereeing. He delayed, in fact, so he's given offside against Juric. I thought he might have given a free kick there because there was a clear tug of the jersey on Troisi.
Well, I think he'd already waved for the advantage. Didn't feel he could go back on that decision.
Anyhow, Juric has dispossessed El Ibrahim and he's got to the byline. And it's spilled momentarily by Hamid Yusuf.
Did it expertly in the end. He cut off that angled pass, had his near post covered, and then cut off brilliantly the cutback. It was Nathan Burns again. He's hit the post once, and he's come ever so close on 2 other occasions. Didn't get a touch then, of course, but he did just previously. Kuwait's goalkeeper, Hamid Yusuf, has lost nothing by comparison tonight.
Dajic still full of running, full of energy. Should Lecky have gone back to him earlier. Troisi. Jedinak. Bresciano. Bit of keep ball from the Roos. The game all but one. There was a little period in the first half and we didn't think we'd be saying that.
Well, in hindsight, it was a matter of the home team working out the nerves, and it was a matter of making sure not too much damage was caused in the meantime.
That's going to stay alive. A backspin on the ball. Rebound Franic. He's somewhat wasted that. And Jedinak. Oh, I tell you what about that for a finish? Pity that the whistle had already gone.
Right foot too.
Goodness me.
James Troisi. He's worked enormously hard, and he's had some very good moments, Troisi, but you'd imagine would be better for the run. His touch has let him down, and it's normally the thing that's the most bankable commodity. And overhit passes on more than one occasion has just taken the gloss off ever so slightly. James Troisi.
Salah Al-Sheikh. Deep inside the final minutes of normal time. Australia almost there.
Top tap.
Sliding challenge from Farhad El Ibrahim. Now with Al-Maqsid. Chested down by Badr Al-Matar. 3 minutes of added time. Here's Al-Matar, punches it towards goal. And Ryan is equal to it. Quick release for Lecky. Good first touch. Has Juric in support. Oh, they leave it for each other. Just not on the same wavelength there, Juric and Lecky. Al-Matar. Yusuf Nasser is onside, and the first touch takes him wide as he attempts to go around Matt Ryan, but he was too good. Another expert piece of goalkeeping.
Well, he looked like he was beaten. He looked like he'd overcommitted himself, and it was advantage Kuwait through Yusuf Nasser. But the repositioning, the shift of the body weight, the speed of the footwork, and the hand-eye coordination to pluck something from nothing there for Matt Ryan. Brilliant stuff. Great recovery, as it has been from the Socceroos.
And I think what will please Ange Postecoglou is still the energy that Australia have. The 92nd minute, ball still zipping around, and the home fans responding. Bresciano, is there a little bit of a cherry on top for the Socceroos? 3-1 they lead. Lecky going this way and that, leading them a merry dance before eventually firing it in. Oh, there it is! James Troisi has the 4th goal for Ange Postecoglou's team. And they're going to start with a win, the host nation. Green and gold all round in the stands. The icing on the cake.
And this quite simply is a reward for effort, more so than expression, for James Troisi. What about the wriggle work from Matthew Leckie, and anticipation? Finally, the left foot gets an opportunity to open up on goal from James Troisi. He fires it through the narrowest of angles. We've seen how good Hamid Youssef has been in Kuwait's goal and how resiliently he's defended that piece of real estate. But James Troisi, not to be denied, fabulous club form, goal-scoring national team form. Australia home and hose game 1.
4-1. Some recovery for a team that fell behind in the 8th minute. And a little warning to the other pre-tournament favourites. The hosts mean business here on home soil. All the cares and worries of 2014, would they be ready? They may still come back to haunt them, of course, but not tonight. The hosts reverse the curse that has dogged home nations on opening night, a result that sets the tone, relieves some of the pressure, and will fuel expectations that the trophy may well stay on Australian soil. There are stern tests to come, of course, for sure, but the first hurdle, at least, is out of the way, and Australia are on their way here in Melbourne. Hussein Farnell gave Kuwait the lead, gave them a glimmer of a chance of springing a surprise here, but they were undone by a green and gold tidal wave. Tim Cahill with the equaliser, Massimo Luongo put them in front, and then second half goals from Mili Jedinak from the penalty spot, and then it's stoppage time from James Troisi. Round off a comfortable win for the host nation by 4-1. Well, on balance, few could deny that Australia were worthy winners tonight. They had perhaps to do it the hard way. Man of the Match award goes to Massimo Luongo. There were a couple of eyebrows raised about his selection pre-game ahead of Mark Bresciano. He certainly answered those after a rather tentative start. Teed up the first goal for Cahill and then scored the second. Both players, of course, replaced towards the end, but a night of celebration for those dressed in green and gold. What a night for Australia. They've got 3 points on the board from game 1. Next up is Oman and then South Korea. The big test, of course, in Brisbane. But tonight, they were just too good for Al Azraq, the Blue, defeating Kuwait by 4-1.
Well, Massimo, first start for the Socceroos in Australia and man of the match performance from yourself. We'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, how do you feel after a 4-1 victory?
Amazing. You know, that sets us up for the group, the rest of the group stages, and it sets us up for going back to Sydney. But you know, they couldn't give more credit to the lads because they just worked their socks off. You know, right from the back, from Matty Ryan, you know, everyone was solid. You know, we went a goal down, but you know that showed our Aussie spirit coming back, and you know, everyone was brilliant.
It felt like it took a lot of life out of the crowd when you went a goal down. Within the group, how did you feel, and how difficult was it getting straight back on it?
Well, yeah, it was a bit disheartening, but you know, the way we got back, everyone knew that there was goals in this game. We knew that they were going to sit off straight after that goal, so we just had to be patient, and we knew that we were going to break them down eventually. You know, we knew we had to get the ball in play for as long as possible. You know, if it goes out, get it back in straight away, and it worked to our advantage.
On a personal level, you're involved in a couple of goals, but to score in your first start for the Socceroos on home soil, how does that feel?
Oh, amazing. It's a dream come true, you know. It's my first game in Australia, and I just, you know, I couldn't be more happy.
Well, Mas, we're all very proud of you. Congratulations. Well done.
Yes, thank you. Cheers.
Well, what a terrific night's entertainment we had here in Melbourne to open up this 2015 AFC Asian Cup. And Kuwait certainly played their part, even though the scoreline eventually went heavily against them. And of course, they took that early lead through defender Hussein Fadel. And for a long time, felt as though they might be able to hang on to that. But it was a terrific response from Australia. And I think the thing that will please Ange Postecoglou as much as anything is the fact that his team was still pushing towards the end of the game. And of course, they got their reward through James Troisi in stoppage time. This is the early part of the game, though, Andy Harper. And Hussein Fadel stooping to put the ball in the back of Matt Ryan's net. A shot lead for Kuwait.
Yeah, it was. It was a nervous start from Australia, punished by bad defending. And the bad defending started on halfway. Masluongo, who emerged to be the man of the match. What a great turnaround. He didn't follow his run of the corner, resulted in sloppy defending, and meant that Hussein Fadel, one of Kuwait's best, got the goal lead. Australia finally and gradually worked their way back into contention through the most likely consistent and familiar source, Timmy Cahill, who finished beautifully off the lead-up work from Masluongo. And they got better and better as the half went on, and Masluongo got better and better at turning his night around. Quite a remarkable game by the youngster. His first start for an Australian national team on home soil, and what a way to put an exclamation mark on that contribution. 2-1 at half-time, Australia led, and they went on with it more than ever in the second half. Matthew Leckie, Robbie Cruz, James Troisi caused all manner of trouble. And it was Timmy Cahill who forced a great save off keeper Hamed Youssef, who was excellent for Kuwait, really excellent. This is not the best work he did all night, but it was still pretty good. Timmy Cahill lining up for his second. He's scored in 3 Asian Cups now, 3 World Cups and 3 Asian Cups, Timmy Cahill. Matthew Leckie hitting the crossbar. He was an ever-present danger. The go-ahead goal finally to give the extra breathing space for Australia came through the work of Robbie Cruz. His first touch a little sloppy, but so quick to get in the front position. And he won the penalty fair and square. Referee didn't miss a thing all night, and he was Johnny on the spot to get that one completely correct. It was Sultan Al-Enzi who lurched with the foot and committed the foul. Milaj Edinek scored from the spot in the World Cup finals against Holland in Porto Alegre, and he stepped up at home in Melbourne to send Hamed Youssef the wrong way. But Kuwait, they made a strong stuff. They weren't going to go down without a fight. Couple of changes off the bench, particularly Badr El Matawa and Yusuf Nasser up front, outstanding. The number 11 forced unbelievable work. Fahed Al-Ibrahim, one of Kuwait's best. Great work off Matt Ryan. Nathan Burns off the bench. His first game for Australia at home in quite some time. Outstanding. Great work. Look at this work from Badr El Matawa. He is an outstanding player. Forced some steady and sure work from Matthew Ryan in Australia's goal. And finally, the piece de resistance from Australia as Matthew Leckie kept bursting through. Nathan Burns first forced the save. Kuwait couldn't hang on for much longer. There was going to be a fourth to come. It was a matter of when. Bresciano off the bench, lurching the ball in. Yusuf Ahmed taking the heat out of this one. But it wasn't going to be too far before the fourth goal was to come.
And it came from James Troisi in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Just a little cherry on top for Ange Postecoglou's team. He'll be delighted with this performance here today. Matthew Leckie snaking into the penalty area this way and that. And the loose ball popped up for James Troisi to seal the win for Australia. So they're off to a flyer. Up next, they play Oman. At Group A, Australia leads with 3 points. They've reversed the curse at the home nation.